the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has publicly illustrated how he represents the Messiah.
Jesus the Messiah. He's not yesterday. He's today.
But it's rather interesting that religious theologians and scholars haven't challenged this very bold claim coming from him. That's because the wise scholars who know the prophecies are very familiar with the messianic descriptors involving his work and controversies with political and religious leadership, especially with Jewish leaders.
It's two men who act as one.
This prophetic era of the Messiah's rise is known in theology as the Messianic age. And all the major faith traditions have prophecies that anticipate such a messianic figure. And these prophecies give vivid descriptions of a man from God's chosen people and what his work will entail during a time when Satan, the man of sin, becomes revealed. Contrary to most evangelical depictions, the Messiah is actually imbued by God to unmask and fight the satanic forces that rule the world. Now, this Satan is actually a powerful, secretive group, symbolized as a serpent in the beginning stage, but later described as a beast or the dragon and the synagogue of Satan in Revelation. The uplift of God's chosen people and the fight against Satan's power are at the core of the Messiah's work. Jesus' controversy with the deceitful oppressors gives one of the clearest prophetic pictures of the Messianic age, because he exposes the satanic Jewish leaders who deceive the people into thinking they are God's chosen. In fact, Jesus called them devils because of their deceptive influence over information, politics, policies, and practices, and even their financial manipulation of the people. I know a man who follows that messianic path. That's why the enemy is upset with Minister Farrakhan, because he proves with living facts who the real chosen people are and who the main culprits behind our enslavement and exploitation are. He has taken on that messianic mission of his teacher, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. The unorthodox teaching of Jesus conflicted with the traditional understanding of the religious leaders, so they charged him with blasphemy because they didn't like the truth that made them uncomfortable. Much like those who claim Farrakhan's rhetoric is hateful and anti-Semitic because they can't disprove the facts he presents. And since they could never defeat the truth, the Jewish scribes lie and misinterpret his words to sway the people against a righteous man. Which means they must have control over media and information so they can ban his books, ban his online accounts, and hope you don't become awakened by him. This messianic figure lacks formal degrees of education, but he's gifted by God with supreme wisdom, enabling him to do what the rich and powerful have not been able to do. Yet he sits with and reforms criminals, and he speaks to the multitudes, which upsets the Jewish leaders to the point where they plotted his death, starting with an all-out misinformation campaign. Much like the way Jewish leaders of the ADL and the FBI sought to destroy what they called the rise of a black Messiah who could unify and electrify the militant black nationalist movement.
J. Edgar Hoover, like Herod and the rest of the demons, knew who they were looking for. And they were looking for a black Messiah who could unite our people, especially the nationalist community.
We know a man who most accurately fits these descriptors in the real world and in real time.
Jesus the Messiah. He's not yesterday. He's today.
Now, one of the clearest indicators of the Messiah's presence is his direct connection to God's prophetic warship, a heavenly vessel that appears in the real world with numerous other flying wheels.
I represent the Most High God who sits in that wheel that Ezekiel saw, a wheel in the middle of a wheel.
And unlike religious preachers who simply evangelize the scripture, Farrakhan's work fulfills these messianic descriptors, not just by his words, but by his actions and his life.
So when I made the announcement, I told them that before you can make mockery of me, you'll see the wheels. Yeah. And they flew over the White House and flew over the Congress. Yeah.
That's why the true chosen people of God gravitate toward him and his divine message, despite all of Satan's attempts to stop it. Stay connected with us as we show and prove how the research confirms the revelation.